Empress Veltara stood before the greatest gathering of Vorthak leaders in the Empire's history. Every fleet commander, every planetary governor, every military chief watched her through holographic displays. The weight of their expectations pressed down on her like a physical force. "We face a choice that will define our people forever," she began. Her voice was steady, but those who knew her could hear the strain beneath her words. General Thaxmore spoke first, his scarred face twisted with anger. "The Empire has never retreated. Our ancestors conquered 1,000 worlds. Are we to abandon everything because of one species?" Admiral Kexthal stood to respond. "Our ancestors were brave, but they were not fools. They knew when to fight and when to seek another path. You speak of cowardice." Thaxmore roared. "I speak of wisdom." Kexthal shot back. "The humans could have destroyed us already. Instead, they heal our wounded and repair our ships. They offer us something we have never had before." "What?" demanded several voices at once. "A chance to be more than conquerors. A chance to be protectors." Intelligence Chief Nexara presented her final analysis. "The humans have technology we cannot match and power we cannot resist. But more importantly, they have shown us a different way to use that power." On Earth, Admiral Park Tae-young prepared for what might be the most important negotiation in human history. His orders were simple. If the Vorthaks chose peace, help them find a way to accept it with honor. President Nam Ji-hai watched from the command center in Geneva. "Admiral, you have full authority to negotiate terms. But remember, we want allies, not subjects." The Vorthak Council debated for hours. Some commanders demanded a glorious final battle. Others argued for strategic withdrawal. A few dared to suggest that cooperation with humans might benefit the Empire. Finally, Empress Veltara raised her hand for silence. "I have heard all arguments. Now I will speak my decision." The massive display screens flickered as every Vorthak in the Empire waited for her words. "The Empire has always prized strength above all else," she said slowly. "Today I have learned that true strength sometimes means admitting when you are wrong." General Thaxmore's face turned purple with rage, but he remained silent. "The humans have shown us power beyond our understanding, but they have also shown us mercy beyond our experience. They could rule us through fear as we have ruled others. Instead, they offer partnership." She paused, knowing her next words would change everything. "The Empire will withdraw from human space. We will negotiate new boundaries, and we will learn from those who have proven themselves our betters." The response was immediate chaos. Some commanders shouted approval. Others roared protests. General Thaxmore stormed out of the council chamber, followed by his most loyal supporters. But Admiral Kexthal smiled for the first time in months. "Your Majesty, you have chosen wisely." Admiral Park received the message while his ship waited at the edge of Earth's solar system. "They want to negotiate," he told his crew. "Prepare for formal talks." The negotiations took place on a neutral station built hastily by both sides. Human quantum technology created the structure in just days. Vorthak engineers marveled at its design. Ambassador Kim Hae-ri led the human delegation. She was known for her ability to find common ground between very different peoples. "We want these talks to result in more than just a peace treaty," she told her team. "We want a foundation for friendship." The first sessions were difficult. Vorthak military leaders struggled to accept their new position. They had been the dominant power in the galaxy for centuries. Now they were negotiating as equals with a species they had planned to conquer. But slowly, understanding began to grow. Dr. Oh Hai-wan worked with Vorthak psychologists to bridge the cultural gap. Chief Engineer Ryuna Young shared defensive technologies that could help protect Vorthak worlds from other threats. "We are not seeking to weaken you," Admiral Park explained to the Vorthak negotiators. "We want you to become stronger in the right ways." 3 months later, the Terran Accord was signed. The treaty established clear boundaries between human and Vorthak space. More importantly, it created frameworks for cooperation and mutual defense. General Thaxmore made one final attempt to seize power. He gathered his most loyal commanders and launched a desperate attack on a human patrol ship. The assault failed when moderate Vorthak forces, led by Admiral Kexthal, intervened to stop them. "The old ways are dead," Kexthal told Thaxmore as the rebel general was taken into custody. "We serve a new empire now." Empress Veltara took the most surprising step of all. 6 months after the accord was signed, she announced her abdication. "The empire needs leaders who can guide it into this new age," she said. I am too bound to the old ways to be that leader. Admiral Kexthul was elected as the first president of the Vorthak Republic. His first act was to establish joint patrol squadrons with human forces. Captain Shin Wanho found himself commanding one of these mixed crews aboard the ship New Horizon. Half his officers were human, half were Vorthak. Working together, they protected trade routes and responded to emergencies throughout both territories. It's strange, his Vorthak second-in-command told him one day. 6 months ago, we were enemies. Now we're partners. The best partnerships often start that way, Shin replied. Ambassador Kim established permanent diplomatic missions on major Vorthak worlds. Cultural exchange programs brought young Vorthaks to Earth and sent human students to the former empire. Chief Engineer Ryu developed hybrid technologies that combined human innovation with Vorthak engineering. The results benefited both civilizations. But the most important change was how other species viewed the galaxy. News of humanity's emergence and the Vorthak transformation spread to every corner of known space. Other aggressive empires suddenly became much more cautious about expanding their territories. The Zelkari Confederation, which had been planning its own conquests, decided to focus on internal development instead. The Trelawney Trade Union, a collection of merchant worlds, reached out to both Earth and the Vorthak Republic seeking protection agreements. We've become the galaxy's stabilizing force, President Nam observed during a cabinet meeting. Other species look to us for leadership. Dr. Oh Hyewan studied the broader implications. We've proven that military strength doesn't have to mean military conquest. That's a new concept for most galactic civilizations. Former Empress Veltara found a new role as an advisor to the Vorthak Republic. She helped other former Imperial officers adjust to their changed circumstances. I spent my life learning how to rule through fear. She told President Kexthul, "You must teach our people how to lead through example." 2 years after the first contact, Captain Shin's joint patrol ship responded to a distress call from an unknown species. Their homeworld was under attack by space pirates using stolen Trilani technology. Working together, human and Vorthak crews defeated the pirates and rescued the endangered planet. The grateful species asked to join the growing alliance of peaceful worlds. "This is what we've built," Admiral Park told Ambassador Kim as they watched the rescue operation. Not an empire based on conquest, but a community based on cooperation. The galaxy had changed forever. Humanity's final warning to the Vorthak Empire had become the foundation for a new kind of civilization. One where strength served justice, where power protected the weak, and where former enemies could become the closest allies. In the end, Earth's greatest victory was not defeating the Vorthak Empire. It was showing them, and the entire galaxy, that there was a better way to live among the stars. The warning had become an invitation, and the galaxy was ready to accept it. President Nam Ji-hai stood before the United Earth Assembly in the Great Hall beneath Geneva. Representatives from every nation and colony watched as she prepared to address the most important session in human history. "Members of the Assembly," she began, "the Vorthak Empire has seen our true capabilities. Now we must decide what comes next." General Bae Sung-min presented the military options on a massive holographic display. "We have 3 choices. First, we can simply enforce their withdrawal from our space. Second, we can contain their empire to prevent future expansion. Third, we can end their military threat completely." The third option hung in the air like a dark cloud. Everyone knew what it meant. With their advanced technology, humanity could destroy the entire Vorthak Empire in a matter of days. Dr. Oh Hyewan stood to address the assembly. "I have studied Vorthak psychology for 30 years. They are a proud warrior culture. Being forced to retreat may drive them to desperate actions. Aboard the Vorthak flagship, Empress Veltara faced a crisis that threatened to tear her empire apart. Admiral Kexthul led a faction of moderate officers who wanted immediate withdrawal. General Thaxmore commanded those who preferred death to dishonor. "Your Majesty," said Kexthul carefully, "we cannot win this war. The humans have technology we cannot match." "Wisdom demands retreat," Thaxmore snarled at him. "Coward, the Empire has never retreated from any battle." "The Empire has never faced an enemy like this," Kexthul replied calmly. Intelligence Chief Nexara added her voice to the debate. "My analysis is complete. The humans have been watching us for decades. They know the location of every major military base, every fleet position, every supply depot. She activated a display showing the Vorthak Empire's territory. Red dots marked all their important installations. They demonstrated this knowledge by placing probes at 3 of our most secret facilities. If they wanted to attack us, we would already be dead. Empress Veltara struggled with the impossible choice. If she ordered withdrawal, she would look weak. Her own generals might overthrow her. If she ordered an attack, she would lead her people to destruction. There is another option, said Admiral Kexthal quietly. We could propose negotiations. A formal treaty establishing boundaries. General Thaxmore laughed bitterly. Negotiate with primitives? The Empire does not bargain with lesser species. They are not lesser, said Nixara firmly. That is what we must finally accept. On Earth, President Nam received reports from her intelligence teams. The Vorthak leadership is fracturing, reported her chief advisor. Some want to fight, others want to flee. Dr. Ohi-Wan studied the psychological profiles. Empress Veltara is in an impossible position. If she shows weakness, her own people may rebel. If she shows strength, we will destroy them. Then we need to give her a way to save face, said General Bay. A solution that lets her appear strong while actually being wise. Admiral Cho Hyun-woo received new orders from Earth Command. Initiate Deep Presence Protocol, the message read. Show them we can reach anywhere. Across Vorthak space, human ships began appearing near major installations. They did not attack or threaten. They simply appeared, delivered messages, and vanished again. The messages were always the same. We come in peace, but we are prepared for war. The psychological impact was devastating. Every Vorthak world suddenly realized that Earth could strike them at any time. Their mighty empire felt helpless and exposed. Captain Shin Wan-ho commanded one of the ships making these demonstration jumps. His vessel appeared in orbit around the Vorthak homeworld itself, transmitted its message, and departed before the local defenses could even respond. Mission complete, he reported. The capital world has received our message. On the homeworld, panic spread through the government buildings. If humans could appear in their most protected space, nowhere in the Empire was safe. Science Officer Kilvek worked desperately to understand human technology. Their ships don't use any propulsion system we recognize, then, he reported to his superiors. They seem to manipulate space itself. Can we duplicate it? Asked his commanding officer. Not in 100 years. Maybe not in 1,000. Empress Veltara called an emergency council meeting. Representatives from across the Empire gathered by faster-than-light communication. The debate was fierce and desperate. We must attack now, demanded General Thaxmore. Every moment we wait makes us look weaker. Attack with what? Countered Admiral Kexthul. They have shown they can disable our ships without destroying them. They could capture our entire fleet intact. Chief Engineer Ryuna Young monitored the Vorthak communications from her station on Earth. They're arguing about honor versus survival, she reported. The military faction wants to fight regardless of the cost. President Nam made her decision. Send them one final demonstration, something that shows our power but also our restraint. Admiral Cho selected a target carefully, a single Vorthak supply convoy traveling between systems. His ships surrounded the convoy instantly, appearing from quantum tunnels like ghosts. But instead of attacking, the human ships began repairing damage to the Vorthak vessels. Broken engines were fixed. Depleted fuel tanks were refilled. Sick crew members were healed with advanced medical technology. This is our gift, Admiral Cho broadcast to the convoy. We could have destroyed you. Instead, we choose to help. This is the difference between our peoples. The convoy commander was stunned. Why? He asked over the communication channel. Because we believe all life has value, Cho replied. Even the lives of our enemies. Word of the incident spread through the Vorthak Empire faster than their ships could travel. The humans had shown ultimate power, the ability to help instead of harm. Empress Veltara sat alone in her private chambers, weighing the fate of billions. Her empire was built on conquest and fear, but the humans had shown something different. They had the power to destroy but chose to protect. Admiral Kexthul requested a private audience. Your Majesty, I believe the humans are offering us something unprecedented. What? A chance to change. To become something better than we are. General Thaxmore burst into the room without permission. The fleet commanders are demanding action. If we do not attack soon, they will question your leadership. Veltara looked at both officers. One represented the old way of thinking. The other pointed toward an uncertain but possibly better future. "Summon the War Council," she said finally. "It is time to make our choice." Dr. Ohayawan received the final intelligence reports. "The Empress is calling a full council meeting. This will determine whether we have peace or total war." President Nam addressed her own council one last time. "We have shown them our strength. We have shown them our mercy. Now we must see what they choose." In space, both fleets waited in tense silence. 50,000 human ships faced 10,000 Vorthak vessels. But the real battle was not happening in space. It was happening in the minds and hearts of the Vorthak leadership. The choice would determine the fate of both civilizations. Empress Veltara stared at the emergency report from General Thaxamore. The words seemed impossible. 30,000 human ships? Technology centuries ahead of the Empire? It had to be some kind of mistake. "Show me," she demanded. The main display in her throne room lit up with live images from the battle zone. What she saw made her golden eyes widen in shock. The human fleet filled space like a silver cloud. Their ships moved in perfect formation, each one gleaming with unknown power. Admiral Cho Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of his flagship Earth's Defiance. He was a quiet man who had spent 40 years preparing for this day. Around him, his crew worked with calm efficiency. "All ships report ready for revelation protocol," said his tactical officer. "Execute," said Cho simply. Across the solar system, humanity began to reveal its true strength. Massive shipyards opened like metal flowers on the dark side of Earth's moon. Hidden factories in the asteroid belt powered up for the first time in decades. Deep space stations uncloaked near the outer planets. Engineer Lim Soo-jin watched from her command center as her quantum drive ships demonstrated their impossible capabilities. One moment a human cruiser was near Earth, the next it appeared beside Mars. Space seemed to fold around them like paper. "Quantum tunneling is stable," she reported. "All ships can jump at will." Captain John Young-ho piloted the experimental ship Terra's Wrath through a series of combat maneuvers that made Vorthak officers gasp in amazement. His ship moved like a dancer, spinning and diving through space faster than their eyes could follow. "Target the disabled destroyer," ordered Admiral Cho. "Show them precision." John's ship fired a single, thin beam of energy. The beam struck the Vorthak destroyer's main cannon and sliced it away cleanly. The weapon floated off into space while the rest of the ship remained untouched. "Impossible," whispered Science Officer Kilvek aboard the Vorthak flagship. "That level of accuracy requires computer systems we don't even have theories for." Intelligence Chief Nexara was running every scan her equipment could manage. The results painted a terrifying picture. Empress, their smallest ships have more firepower than our battlecruisers. Their largest vessels are reading energy signatures that could destroy moons. Captain Lee Dong-ho opened another communication channel. "Vorthak fleet, you have now seen our defensive capabilities, but you have not seen our offensive weapons. We prefer not to demonstrate those unless absolutely necessary." General Thaxamore slammed his fist on his command console. "This is impossible. 200 years ago, they were barely able to reach their own moon." Dr. Oh Hee-won smiled from her research station on Earth. She had spent decades studying Vorthak psychology and culture. "That's exactly what we wanted you to think," she said to herself. The human strategy had been perfect. For 2 centuries, Earth had hidden its true development. They had let the Vorthak see only what they wanted them to see: chemical rockets and primitive space stations. Meanwhile, humanity had been building something incredible in secret. Empress Veltara tried to maintain her composure, but fear was creeping into her voice. "How many ships do they really have?" "Scans show at least 50,000 vessels," reported her tactical officer. "But many are still cloaked. The real number could be much higher." Admiral Cho decided it was time for the final demonstration. "All ships prepare for deep strike protocol." Across space, a dozen human ships simply vanished. They reappeared moments later in deep space, thousands of light years away. Their target was a Vorthak military outpost on the edge of Empire territory. Science Officer Kilvek watched his instruments in amazement. They just traveled across the galaxy in seconds. That's not quantum tunneling. That's something else entirely. The human ships didn't attack the outpost. Instead, they dropped a single probe and jumped back to Earth's solar system. "The entire operation took less than 10 minutes. What was that?" demanded Empress Veltara. Her communications officer looked pale. "The probe is broadcasting a message to all Empire frequencies. The message was simple and terrifying. We know where all your worlds are. We have been watching you for decades. This is humanity's final warning. Captain Gion brought his ship alongside the Vorthak flagship. The Terra's wrath was 1/10 the size of the massive alien vessel, but somehow it seemed more dangerous. Empress Veltara, came Admiral Cho's voice over the communication system. We need to talk. The Empress found herself agreeing to another meeting, but this time the humans would not be coming as humble diplomats. They would be coming as equals. Engineer Lim Soo-jin prepared a special demonstration for the meeting. Show them the shield harmonics, she told her team. Let them see how completely we understand their technology. As the human delegation prepared to board the Vorthak flagship again, Lieutenant Kim Da-eun continued her surveillance from the stealth ship Silent Thunder. Her recordings would become historical documents, showing the moment when the Vorthak Empire realized they had made a terrible mistake. Command, she reported, Vorthak morale is collapsing. I'm seeing crew members on several ships requesting transfer orders. Commander Yang Min-soo coordinated the human fleet from his asteroid base. All units maintain position. No aggressive moves. Let them think about what they've seen. The thinking was exactly what the Vorthaks were doing. Throughout their fleet, officers and crew members were realizing that they had not come to conquer a primitive world. They had stumbled into the territory of a species that had become something extraordinary. Admiral Cho prepared for the second meeting with calm confidence. In his pocket was a data pad containing information that would shock the Vorthaks even further. Complete files on every major Vorthak military installation, detailed maps of their trade routes, even personal information about their leadership. Sir, asked his aide, should we tell them how long we've been watching them? Everything, said Cho. It's time for complete honesty. Dr. Park So-min gathered her latest research on Vorthak technology. Her scans during the first meeting had revealed weaknesses that humanity could exploit in dozens of ways. But more importantly, they had shown ways the two species could work together. Admiral, she said, I believe we can end this without violence. That's the goal, Cho replied, but they need to understand the consequences of forcing us to fight. As the human shuttle approached the Vorthak flagship for the second time, the mood was completely different. The aliens who had been confident conquerors just hours before were now desperate to avoid a war they could not win. Empress Veltara waited in her throne room, but this time she was not sitting on her bone throne. She stood at the center of the room, trying to project strength she no longer felt. The humans entered with the same calm dignity as before. But now everyone in the room knew the truth. Earth was not a primitive world waiting to be conquered. It was the home of a species that had transcended everything the Vorthak Empire thought it knew about power. General Thaxmore stood in the war room of the Dominion's edge and smiled. The humans had exactly 72 hours to surrender, and he was already planning their defeat. Giant displays showed the human solar system with all its planets marked for conquest. Begin the demonstration, he ordered. Target the research stations around Pluto. Show these primitives what Vorthak weapons can do. Commander Yang Min-soo watched from his hidden base inside a hollow asteroid near Jupiter. His screen showed the Vorthak fleet moving into attack formation. He had been waiting for this moment for 30 years. All units, this is command. The enemy is taking the bait. Repeat, they are taking the bait. Lieutenant Kim Da-eun sat in the pilot seat of the stealth ship Silent Thunder. Her vessel was so close to the Vorthak flagship that she could see aliens walking past the windows, but their sensors could not detect her ship at all. Recording everything, she reported quietly into her communicator. Their shield technology is exactly what Dr. Park said it would be. The Vorthak attack began with a massive bombardment. Energy beams shot across space toward Pluto. The research stations there exploded in brilliant flashes of light. From a distance, it looked like complete destruction. General Thaxmore watched the explosions with satisfaction. Pathetic. Their defenses lasted less than 5 minutes. But Intelligence Chief Nexara was studying the sensor readings more carefully. She was older than most Vorthaks and had survived many wars by being suspicious of easy victories. General, she said, something is wrong with these readings. What do you mean? The explosions were too clean, too perfect. It's like those stations were designed to blow up in exactly that way. Thaxmore waved her concerns away. You worry too much. The humans are weak, just as our scouts reported. On Earth, President Nam Ji-hai watched the destruction of the fake research stations from her bunker deep underground. The stations had been empty shells filled with explosives and holographic projectors. Their only purpose was to make the Vortex feel confident. Phase 1 is complete, reported General Bae Sung-min. The enemy believes they have achieved an easy victory. Good, said the president. Begin Phase 2. Let them see what we've really been building. Commander Yang received the order and smiled. All stealth units, drop your cloaking fields. Let's say hello. Across the solar system, space began to shimmer and warp. Massive human ships appeared from nowhere. They had been hiding right next to the Vorthak fleet using technology that bent light around them. On the Vorthak flagship, alarms began screaming. An officer shouted, "Ships decloaking all around us!" Thousands of them! General Thaxmore stared at the displays in shock. Where there had been empty space moments before, a huge human fleet now surrounded them. The human ships were sleek and silver, nothing like the primitive vessels in their old intelligence files. How many? He demanded. Initial count shows 30,000 human vessels, sir. They're still appearing. Lieutenant Kim moved her stealth ship even closer to the flagship. She could hear the panic in Vorthak voices through her scanners. Command, the enemy is in total shock. They had no idea we were here. Intelligence Chief Nexara rushed to her own command station. Run full scans on those human ships. I want to know what we're facing. The results made her blood turn cold. The human vessels were showing energy signatures that should be impossible. Their technology was centuries ahead of what the Empire possessed. General, she said urgently, we need to withdraw immediately. Withdraw? Thaxmore roared. We have 10,000 ships. And they have 30,000. Plus their technology is far superior to ours. Captain Lee Dong-ho opened a communication channel to all Vorthak ships. His voice was calm and polite. Vorthak Fleet, this is Captain Lee of the Terran Defense Force. You are surrounded. We suggest you consider your next actions very carefully. The words echoed through every Vorthak ship. Thousands of alien warriors who had conquered entire star systems suddenly felt very small. Commander Yang activated more hidden assets. Space stations emerged from behind asteroids. Weapons platforms rose from the surfaces of moons. The entire solar system revealed itself to be one giant fortress. Sir, reported a Vorthak science officer to General Thaxmore, their weapons are charging. Energy levels are off our scales. On the human ship Terra's Wrath, Captain John Young-ho prepared to demonstrate humanity's new capabilities. His ship was much smaller than a Vorthak cruiser, but it carried weapons that could crack planets. Target selected, reported his weapons officer. Single burst minimum power. A beam of pure energy shot from the human ship. It struck a Vorthak destroyer and passed right through its shields like they were made of paper. The alien ship's engines died instantly, leaving it floating helplessly in space. Incredible, whispered Intelligence Chief Nexara. They disabled our shields without destroying the ship. That level of precision is impossible. More human ships began demonstrating their abilities. They moved through space faster than anything the Vorthaks had ever seen. They could appear and disappear at will. Their weapons could disable enemy ships without killing the crews. General Thaxmore tried to maintain his confidence. It's some kind of trick. Humans are not capable of this level of technology. But the evidence was right in front of him. Engineer Lim Soo-jin's quantum drive systems allowed human ships to jump instantly to any location. They could be in a dozen places at once. General, said Nexara urgently, we need to contact the Empress immediately. Our entire invasion plan is based on false information. Lieutenant Kim continued recording everything from her hidden position. She watched Vorthak officers argue and panic. Their mighty empire was facing an enemy they could not understand. A new voice came over the communication channels. Admiral Cho Hyun-woo spoke from the human flagship. People of the Vorthak Empire, hear this message. We know you have conquered many worlds. We know you believe strength comes from force alone. But you are wrong. The Admiral's words reached every Vorthak ship. True strength comes from wisdom. True power comes from restraint. We have shown you a tiny sample of our capabilities. This is humanity's final warning. Leave our space now while you still can. General Thaxmore looked around his command room. His officers were staring at their screens in fear. The humans had turned his mighty fleet into a collection of sitting ducks in just a few hours. Sir, said a communications officer quietly, we're receiving withdrawal requests from 12 of our battle groups. Withdrawal? Thaxmore's voice cracked. Intelligence Chief Nexera pulled up the tactical display. Red dots marked human ships. Blue dots marked Vorthak vessels. The humans outnumbered them 3-1, and their technology was centuries more advanced. "General," she said softly, "we cannot win this fight." For the first time in his life, General Thaxmore felt afraid. The humans had not fired a single shot in anger, but they had already won. They had been watching and waiting and preparing for exactly this moment. "Get me the Empress," he said finally. "She needs to know what we're really facing out here." Admiral Kang Woo-jin stood on the bridge of the human ship Harmony Shield and watched the massive alien fleet ahead. 10,000 Vorthak warships filled the darkness of space like angry stars. Each ship was 3 times bigger than his own vessel. The alien fleet had arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system just 2 days ago. "They want to talk," said Dr. Park So-min as she walked up beside him. She was Earth's best expert on alien cultures. Her tablet showed readings from the Vorthak flagship. "Their Empress is waiting for us." Captain Lee Dong-ho turned from his command chair. "Admiral, our ship looks like a toy next to theirs." "Are you sure about this meeting?" Kang nodded slowly. "We have to try diplomacy first. That's what Earth wants." He did not tell them about the secret orders in his pocket. Orders that came from deep underground bunkers on Earth. Orders that spoke of things hidden in the darkness between planets. The Harmony's shield moved toward the Vorthak flagship called Dominion's Edge. The alien ship was as big as a city. Its hull was black metal covered in spikes and weapon ports. Red lights glowed like evil eyes along its sides. "Incoming message," said the communications officer. "They're giving us permission to dock." Inside the Vorthak ship, everything was designed to make visitors feel small and afraid. The corridors were too wide and too tall. The walls were covered in images of conquered worlds. Alien guards with 4 arms and sharp teeth watched the humans walk by. Empress Veltara waited in a throne room the size of a football field. She was 8 feet tall with purple skin and golden eyes. Her throne was made from the bones of some giant creature. Around her stood dozens of Vorthak generals and advisors. "So," the Empress said in perfect English, "these are the famous humans. You look smaller than I expected." Her voice echoed in the huge room. General Thaxmore stepped forward. He was even bigger than the Empress, with scars covering his face. "Your Majesty, they are exactly as our scouts reported 200 years ago. Weak, primitive. They still use chemical rockets." Kang kept his face calm. He knew the aliens had old information about Earth. Very old information. "Your Majesty," he said with a bow, "I am Admiral Kang Woo-jin. I speak for the people of Earth." "Good," said Veltara. "Then you can tell your people this. The Vorthak Empire claims this entire region of space. Your solar system is now part of our territory. You will surrender your weapons and submit to Imperial rule." Dr. Park stepped forward. "With respect, Your Majesty, Earth must decline this offer." The room fell silent. Several Vorthak generals made threatening growls. General Thaxmore laughed loudly. "Did this tiny creature just refuse the Empress?" "I did," said Park calmly. She was taking readings with a small device hidden in her sleeve. Every scan went straight back to Earth through secret transmitters. Veltara leaned forward on her throne. "Do you understand what you are saying? We have 10,000 ships. You have, what? A few dozen patrol boats?" Captain Lee spoke carefully. "Earth asks that the Vorthak Empire withdraw from our space. We wish to live in peace." "And peace?" General Thaxmore pulled out a weapon that glowed with energy. "You dare to make demands? We could destroy your entire world in one day." Kang remained calm. "That would be unfortunate for everyone." "Unfortunate?" The Empress stood up. "General, show them what happens to species that refuse our generous offer." A large screen appeared in the air. It showed planets being bombed from orbit, cities burning, people running in terror. The Vorthaks had done this to dozens of worlds. Dr. Park watched the terrible images but did not look afraid. She was thinking about the secret files she had read before leaving. Earth. Files that talked about Project Silent Watch. Files that mentioned weapons hidden in empty space. "Impressive," said Kang when the images ended. "But Earth's answer remains the same. We respectfully ask you to leave our space." General Thaxmore roared with anger. "Your Majesty, let me destroy one of their outer planets. That will teach them respect." Veltara held up a hand to stop him. She studied the 3 humans carefully. They did not look scared. They should be terrified, but they seemed almost confident. "You realize this is not a negotiation," she said. "This is us being generous. We could simply take what we want." You could try, said Captain Lee quietly. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Several Vorthak officers hissed with anger. But the Empress looked thoughtful. Something was not right here. These humans were too calm. General Thaxmore, she said finally, prepare the fleet for demonstration. Choose one of their outer planets for a limited strike. With pleasure, Your Majesty. Kang bowed again. If that is your choice, then Earth will respond accordingly. Respond? General Thaxmore laughed. With what? Your chemical rockets? Dr. Park smiled for the first time since entering the room. Something like that. The meeting ended with formal threats from the Vorthaks and polite refusals from the humans. As they walked back to their ship, Captain Lee whispered, Think they bought it? Completely, said Kang. They still think we're the same species they met 2 centuries ago. Back on the Harmony's shield, Dr. Park sent her full report to Earth. Every detail about Vorthak technology, their weapons, their ship designs, even biological data from her hidden scanners. On Earth, deep under the Swiss mountains, computers analyzed the data. In space stations hidden behind asteroids, weapon systems came online for the first time in 50 years. On the dark side of the moon, massive shipyards began opening their doors. Admiral Kang looked out at the Vorthak fleet one more time. 10,000 ships that thought they were facing helpless primitives. He almost felt sorry for them. Sir, said the communications officer, we're getting a priority message from Earth Command. Put it through. A single line of text appeared on his screen. Project Revelation is authorized. Show them what humanity has become. Kang deleted the message and turned to his crew. All stations prepare for Phase 1. It's time to stop pretending. In the darkness of space, the Vorthak Empire was about to learn that Earth had not been idle for the past 200 years.